So I just finished watching Errand of Mercy. This episode was kind of a mess. It had a lot of really great ideas and had a lot of really great potential, and I feel it was just kind of a letdown and a cop-out at the end. But before I get into that, let me backtrack. Highlights of this episode: the Klingons. This is the first time we are introduced to the Klingons. I am used to seeing the Klingons or knowing what they look like from the later stuff with the bumpy foreheads and things like that. Here, they're guys covered in like shoe polish with Fu Manchu mustaches. So I assume there's a reason why, like in the story, I assume there's a reason why they don't look like that anymore. So if anybody out there knows why, please, send me an email, or even better, send me a video message, and I will upload it onto the site here, so everybody else who follows Trek Gear can watch it. But regardless of that, I still like the way these guys looked. I thought it was really cool. Obviously it's low budget, but it was not as silly as the Romulans, who just kind of wore blankets. These guys actually had kind of a tough-looking garb going on. So anyway, basic premise of this: Enterprise crew encounters a Klingon ship. They blow it up. They gotta go to this planet, warn the planet the Klingons are coming. So Kirk and Spock beam down. We've seen this basic thing, almost in every episode. And when they get to the planet, it's not what they think. Oh no! Yeah. I'm getting a little bored of that. As an audience member, I'm at the point now where I know whatever I see is not really what's going on, and there's going to be some sort of twist. Because it is always that sort of thing, I just can't buy anymore. It's kind of like watching an M. Night Shyamalan film. You know there's going to be some big twist at the end, so you're not really surprised when it happens because you know it's coming. Even though you don't know what it may necessarily be, you know that it is coming. And that's the way I'm feeling about this right now, is I know there's going to be some big reveal at the end. So anyway, they get there, and the interesting thing is that the people on this planet, the Orgonians, I think is what they're called, they don't seem to want to fight. They don't seem to want to do anything to protect themselves from the Klingons. I kind of saw the ending coming as soon as they started talking like that. The Klingons show up. Some silliness kind of goes on. The Kirk-Spock dynamic is there. This is the first time I really noticed that bizarre William Shatner acting, where he's pausing in really weird places, and now I'm getting it. Okay, that's another new one for me. So we got Klingons and bizarre Shatner acting really coming through on this episode. So my problem with this episode is the big plot holes in it. First, the big plot hole that I saw that just kind of jumped out at me, if I can use that term correctly, was the fact that Kirk and Spock beamed onto the planet to try to get this planet to come together to fight the Klingons, literally like 10 minutes before the Klingons show up. That was just kind of weird. Had they been there maybe a couple days before, weeks before, something like that, it would work better. But this was just like, hey, the bad guys are coming, they're called Klingons, join us, and we're going to fight them off. And the Orgonians, or whatever they're called, are like, no, we're not going to do that. We don't need to do that. So that was the first big issue I had. My second big issue was the ending. We have another godlike species that we have now encountered. We saw this with the Arena. We saw this with... oh my god, I can't remember the one that had like the little child at the end of it. I can't remember what that one's called now. But we've seen this alien race or this type several times before. The one where they were like in the parlor as well. These immense beings with all this power. I'm getting sick of it. As like there's some sort of galactic parent there to spank the Enterprise and teach them a little moral lesson. One race would be kind of interesting. But this is like the 4th or 5th race that we've seen that does this, and this time around make all the weapons really, really hot, so you can't touch them, and you can't touch any buttons, so they can't fight each other. Such a cop-out. I like the idea that they were a more powerful race, because the whole thing is set up that they're like supposed to be really primitive, but in reality it's the opposite. They're more advanced. It just wasn't fleshed out, so I didn't like that too much. And just the overall cop-out that, like, yep, we're super beings, and we're all kind of gods, and you don't need to fight anymore, so there you go, have fun. And, in the future, Klingons and humans are going to be friends. Bye. And then they turn into little lens flares and fly away. Such a cop-out. Had they just been like normal people who didn't want to fight, that would have been a really cool premise. Do something with that where these two groups, the Klingons and the Federation, have now like come to this planet and they're both trying to dominate over it, and the locals don't want to fight either which way. That would be a great story. Let's run with that. But again, like I said, it was a cop-out. So that's all I really have to say about this episode. It was a mixed bag. Not awful, but not great. There were some moments I did get excited about, but overall, kind of a letdown. So, I will see you guys later.